All right. There's no sound on that yet, but that will be fixed.
Okay. I heard the sound earlier.
Yeah, I changed since this isn't the same format that was as when we originally did this one. It's gonna be slightly different.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because I will add the songs and stuff later on, and all that good stuff in between.
Okay.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Well, since we pretty much stopped watching wrestling as much, we're gonna go back to watching Marvel shows. Woo!
Woo.
Well, at least this show isn't as bad as other ones. So, first and foremost, I would like to welcome you all to the Marvelous Detectives podcast. Again, it's been a while, and in my pastimes of trying to figure out, like everyone else trying to figure out work and life and stuff, I have seen randomly that this podcast has had some episodes have had up to 100 views, and I'm wondering how that happened. And I'm going to thank you who's been listening. Thank you so much for your time, your patience, and AJ thanks you as well.
I do. A lot of things has changed since then. You got
No
new
kidding.
hair. I married somebody. Well, I didn't get married, but I married two people. Go ahead,
Peter,
shake your curls, dog.
it don't move yet. Stop. Uh, am I referring to you as Minister AJ or
Huh?
Pastor AJ? Am I referring to you as Pastor AJ or Minister AJ?
Te-
Which one?
technically both.
All right, Pastor AJ. All right, this is our new. If I could change your thing, I would 100% display switch your display name as Pastor AJ, and that's just for my own satisfaction. To be honest with you. All right,
I
so
got you.
this
I
is
got you, fam.
let's go. All right, this one is a simple one. You're only going to go into a few episodes of the only show that Disney Plus has um for the Marvel canon that's actually been good. But you didn't do Quantum Mania. We didn't do Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you seen those two movies?
Yeah, I seen all of them.
Mm, maybe we can go back and do a quick review just for the sake of content. Eh.
Okay.
But as we go back into this, we're gonna look at the first
Yeah.
two episodes. Ooh, they didn't focus. The first two episodes of one of the two good Marvel shows that have come out of the whole Disney Plus universe, because all the rest of them were trash, garbage, trash bag.
Three. Three.
What
Hawkeye
was the
was
third
good.
one? Falcon. Well, if we're doing that, we will have to sit here and actually do a ranking
Oh,
of
you're
them.
talking about this phase?
Yeah, I'm talking about all of the shows.
Okay. Oh, all of them? I thought WandaVision it
Those,
was above mid.
yeah, those were the
Uh,
two, Loki and WandaVision for
Hawkeye
me.
Hawkeye was good.
I'll cause a terrible
Falcon and
logos.
Winter Soldier wasn't bad. It just took too long to start.
Yeah, I put that one and the Hawkeye show kind of in that same tier, just right
Yeah,
below
they.
the better ones.
Yeah, I haven't seen Secret Wars. I'm gonna watch it because it's my favorite. Well, one of my top five comic book stories. So, or
Boy,
Secret. Well, did they name it's Secret Invasion, right?
yeah, it's Secret Invasion,
Yeah.
all right.
Even though um, there's a lot of things that happen in the comics that haven't been set up in the show. So I'm curious to see how it is.
Oh, you will absolutely spectacularly have plenty of content after watching that. You will have plenty of content for me after watching that. That's all I can tell you.
You're not going to change my opinion on this. The only question I have to ask is, do they ever acknowledge Nick Fury as the Man on the Moon?
What you mean?
Like the fact that he was not on technically on Earth, but was on the moon
Oh,
protecting Earth.
oh, they been said that on like on the Spider-Man movie. Remember?
Yeah, but that wasn't Nick Fury.
Yeah, no, I mean there was they had, and you don't remember the extra credit scene where they had him in
Yeah,
space. It
yeah,
was Nick Fury that was in space.
yeah. Was it?
Yeah, the one that was on Earth was not him.
There's too much happening. I don't remember.
Don't
And I
worry, they're
just
going to tie
watched it.
all of that in at the beginning of Secret Invasion, and
I just
oh, hmm?
I just watched you're talking about Far From Home, right? Not Far
Hold
From
up,
yeah, Far From Home.
hold up, I can't hear
Huh?
you.
Hello? It says my mic is being picked
I
up.
can't hear you again.
Weird.
Well, while we wait to see if we can hear him, I'm just gonna talk trash about Secret Invasions until he gets come to if I can hear him on audio. So first and foremost, Secret Invasion is about the scrolls, and Nick Fury. I don't want to say too much because he hasn't
Testing.
watched it, and
Can you hear me?
as he said, it's a show that he very much is a book slash it's a comic that he very much enjoyed. So I don't want to
It's
ruin
picking
that
up here.
for him. Look, yeah, I just don't want to ruin that for him. Not at all. All right. Technical difficulties resolved. Fade in. All right.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, that's how. So what are you saying regarding the Secret Invasion?
Oh, you were gonna talk trash about it, even though I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't get to that part. I wasn't gonna do that for real.
Oh,
I'm just gonna let
but
you. Hmm.
I was like, I was sitting there, I was like, how are they gonna do Secret Invasion? They need like then the comics, like that was because they declared like the superheroes would work with the government to oversee other superheroes, and they kind of did that plot already with Civil War. It was supposed to be the aftermath of Civil War, but uh, there's no Iron Man anymore either. So we'll see how it plays out. You need to stop making that face, dog. Let me just believe.
I want you to enjoy it as best as you can. Look,
Let me
as
be
best
great.
as you can. Look, I will let you be great. It's not my fault the show wasn't. All right. We're gonna
I ain't got
have
nothing to
the
say about that. I haven't seen it.
I know. So when you're prepared to come back and rant, just know the microphone is here. We're ready to record, and the people are ready to hear it. This person included.
Okay.
All right, let's get right into it. So first, I guess the first episode of this. I guess let's see if we can do a brief. Let's go into this quote unquote brief overview that was given out for the episode. I see there's one that was. Let's see if I can find it because I didn't actually have it. All right, let's go. Secret Invasions. Not Secret Invasion. I got confused now. Loki episode 1, season 2 starts with Loki is suffering from some sort of wow, this is hilarious. Some sort of ailment where he's uncontrollably bouncing between timelines throughout the episode around the TVA, looking for Morbius, who doesn't recognize him. First off, I guess since we're back in this one, I'll let you start off. How did you feel about this first episode?
Um, you're gonna have to give me more. Didn't they eventually? Didn't he
All right,
eventually bounce back? Oh, I remember now. I thought
I
it
can give
was fun. I thought it was fun for setup. Um,
I
him
can give you a
bouncing
brief
back
overview.
between the past and the present, and eventually the future.
I can give you the brief overview. So let's see. In the past, the TVA attempts, which we didn't know this was the past when we first watched it. So at the end of the first season, we know that Loki tried to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains, who was the king who won the war
Hmm.
against the kings in the Council of Kings, which we figured out in this episode a lot about the Council of Kings origins. So, in this episode, you start off right where you ended off, where he was in the TVA. Where if you watched the end of the last episode, which was the end of season one, you would have assumed that as soon as Sylvie killed Kang, he went back to the TVA and he sees the king statues. You would have assumed that they had already taken over the TVA almost instantaneously. But
Hmm.
that wasn't the case. The case was Loki actually, when she bounced him back, she sent him in a almost put him in a loop in a TVA timeline, which was not known that the TVA itself had its own timeline. They said time didn't affect the TVA, which we found out in this episode was not true because Loki was kicked back into the past of the TVA, which was, I think he's the dude said, um, who was Ouroboros, who was the only person that was there from the beginning that remembered it from the beginning. It had been 300 years since but time 3 millennia, something like that, between between that time period that Loki was in to the time period that they were actually in, like the actual timeline in the current time. And
I just,
hmm,
if I could chime in, because technically you said something that hasn't happened yet.
what?
Because theoretically, time didn't affect the TVA until King was unable to predict what was happening next.
Yeah, that
So
may be.
technically, there was probably a point in time where time didn't affect the TVA. But being with the things that's happening that would happen in episode two, it would make sense for time to start shifting and cracking in the TVA. But as far as the episode, I thought it was a fine episode, a good setup episode.
That's true. What else did we find out? We found out that even all the king, what is it? Pretty much every like semblance of him that was in the TVA was pretty much covered up by probably He Who Remains. There was one person that was there from the beginning that actually remembers as the only
No, that's
person
not.
that.
There's what was it, Rockwood or something like that? The girl. They said that she was working with Kang. Remember,
Who, Renslayer?
Renslayer. Yes, they said she was working with Kang.
That's true. They did say it in the first episode.
Especially being that she was the only one not surprised when they killed the what were they called at first? The dang it, what were the three robot people called?
They were called the hold up, see if I can get an idea of what they were called. The timekeepers.
Yeah, the timekeepers. And it's mostly because all of her actions make more sense once that revelation came out towards the, I think it was the end of that episode.
Yeah, the first episode.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they started talking about it along with the. Now that might have been the second episode because I think old boy was talking about it. But either
Mm-hmm.
way, that was something I was like, oh, that makes sense now. She would work to protect everything because she probably understands everything that's happening.
I can see that.
Also, that's a dope name to be
What,
named
Renslayer?
Renslayer.
I can say that.
It's better
You're
than
not wrong.
being it's better than being Mobius M. Mobius.
I was literally looking at that as you said that, like staring at the name. Hey, his name is Mobius, but
Yep.
for some reason Mobius is one they with with those two together, him and Loki, they kind of like carrying the show.
I mean, yeah. I mean, now they introduced a character in episode 2 that I think is comparable to carrying the plot too. He was funny.
Yeah, that was he wasn't in the second episode. He was in the first one. Hold up, no, I'm not.
Now your camera's frozen.
Yeah, no, right. And that's not the only thing that's frozen. Everything's frozen, but I'm assuming that it's still recording, which is absolutely weird. So give me like 2 seconds. Um, everyone in here talking trash.
No,
That's what
I was just chilling.
I thought. I'm just like no.
First of all, here's what we're not gonna do.
All right, but let me see what else was in there. So this episode, you find out that Loki was that the fact that I really think that since he was kicked out of what was it, the end of time, the way he was, he ended up being stuck in the time skipping loop between the past and the present, and then eventually the future in the first episode. As you found out that the one thing that was, you know, that was actively keeping the timelines, helping keep everything stable was quote unquote the loom, which was also an invention of He Who Remains that was hidden in the basically the underground of the TVA that only one person that was left knew about, which was the Ouroboros dude, because he was the only person that had any type of full blown memories to this point of the original TVA that
Yeah,
is notified. So since he's the only person that knew that this was the thing that was additionally, you know, basically the He Who Remains was watching from his tower and letting everything from the TV run on his own. Like he sat there and watched it from a distance.
yeah. I mean, gotta give the man credit for automation. He just set everything up and just let it work for itself.
And
All he had to do was run diagnostics every 300 years.
what, wipe everybody's memory?
Yeah, basically.
Jesus. Well, and that was pretty much it. It was a great, and like you said, in my opinion, it was a great setup to what was going on. They ended up finding a way to actively pull Loki from the time from his time skipping ailment that was causing him to hop from different time period, even though at the last minute he did end up in the future, which was the way he ended up getting back to the present. And you wonder what type of future it was. So, and also you find out in the process of him getting time jumping, he ends up in like I guess that was that one cool scene where he ended up jumping into the boardroom while he was in the boardroom, and they had the little mural of the timekeepers, and then he uses the little weapon thingy, the little pruny thingy, and prunes the wall away, and it shows the Kangs. I was like, yeah, this is getting good. This is staying good.
That wasn't the thing that was the most fun for me to watch. It was that they actually showed that when they actually depicted how time is affected in the TVA, because Loki was jumping back and forth through time to the point where he could put ideas in Ouroboros' head that he would remember in the future, even though he just left that moment.
You're not wrong, because they actively showed that being a thing when he first got there, and then you remember he broke the floor,
Yeah,
and then he came back in the present and was like, "Oh, that's when he made the realization that time affected the TVA."
yeah,
So it makes you
but
wonder. That was part of the biggest things that I wondered, because as much as they didn't, they kind of just glanced over all of it. They didn't really talk about, which I think that is to the fact that you have just that's to Mobius's character, where Loki's like us. He's just like, yo, you don't remember what happened 3x amount of years ago. That means you knew who Kang was. You just don't remember that you knew who Kang was.
yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that happened. I mean, Marvel has kind of used this plot. They kind of used what I assume would be the plot device of why Kang did what he did with the Timekeepers in other stories like Doom World, where he found that if you, what was it? I forgot what his name was, who gave Doom the power. He was in the original Secret War. But basically, Doom ends up losing to Reed Richards because he always does. I'm mad about that, but he always does. And you basically it's like the world does better with a god that they don't know than one that they know and fear. So I'm guessing that who knows what could have happened in that timeline to make Kane go, well, if they don't know that it's an all-knowing being or some type of godly figure and it's just me, they'll probably be more accepting of this arrangement. Which leads me to that. I can curse on here, right?
Yeah, we're like 20 minutes in.
That one bitch I don't like.
Who?
You know the one. The
Who?
one who went to kill all the other timelines.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me you forgot. That's a major plot point.
No, we didn't get to that. I didn't get to that point yet. Because right after, right, the lady that would pretty much say she's taking everything into her own hands and just went ahead and just went and just said, "I'm gonna just go ahead and disappear," and that's how we go, and that's go and disappear and just start lining up the arsenal for a war. And you're just like, oh well, we will figure that out later. Everyone's just like, we'll figure that part out later. We just got to make sure that we see what's going on with you first. And you're just like, all right. Everybody's like, okay, we're gonna see what's going on with Loki first, and then we'll figure it out. Okay, so all right then, cool. And as soon as you figure everything out with Loki, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We go into the second episode, which, uh, which is kind of the whole point of this one, where they're trying to find out, where was they? Were trying to find out where Sylvie was, because the group that was, you know, gearing up for war, They succeeded in gearing up for war. I can say that very much so.
Yeah, they came out ready. And I mean, not really. If we can be honest, they really weren't, because as soon as they met any kind of resistance, they crumbled like paper.
I mean, they're fighting a wizard.
It they were fighting them in the first one. They weren't doing that bad in the first season.
Well, you gotta understand, it's kind of like his powers didn't work in the TVA. It's just like the fact that they had Infinity Stones in the TVA that didn't have any type of effect of what was going on there. But the moment he steps out the TVA, this man is just a god.
They fought him in the convenience store somewhat.
Ooh.
They weren't going down like this at the convenience store where they first found Sylvie. They were still putting up some kind of resistance. This time they come around, they're folding like origami, bro.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
He literally walked in. They did one move, and 5 people went flying.
See, hey, this.
I saw 5 people go flying. It's like, and then the lady was just like, "All right, let's do it now."
Well, you see, in that one, he wasn't actually fighting the TVA. Sylvie was running away from the TVA, and he was working with the TVA to find what the issue was that was causing, where this person was that was hiding in the disaster events.
Yeah, but Sylvie was still killing people. Let's not think that she wasn't.
I mean, she was then, and she did now. So she's living very much up to her character. I mean, well, this TVA that was left, the soldiers that was left. I mean, they were the B team.
Yeah, because I was about to say, what was the black lady's name?
Hunter B.
Yeah, she was putting in work. I'll give her the credit.
I feel like this
everybody else that came after washed.
She was a part of the A team. This is the B team, because this is only a separate faction of the TVA soldiers, because clearly B-15 and a lot of the rest of the military that was left were still there.
I just want to know what that one lady, what gave her the confidence think she could pull that off if they all getting folded like laundry like this. That's all I want to know.
She actively and successfully destroyed a million timelines.
Fair enough. I ain't got nothing for you there.
Well, let's get into the second episode. You go into the part where you find out what, got scratched her back. But you found out where one of the hunters that was working for Miss Lady ended up giving up on his mission that was given by her and becoming a straight up actor.
That I like him as a character.
He said
he was basically the human Loki.
This man was just like, "Oh, I have a place in this timeline." Man, I said they opened up the time pad and said, "Bye, guys," and he just exited stage. And he just exited.
I mean, hey, I can't be mad at a man. Just be like, hey, I just want to live life. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do.
I always wonder that when you go back to your timeline, does time affect you while you're in that timeline?
Technically, it should. You've returned yourself to the time stream. That's what happens when they go in and out of that portal thing. So I would think so, especially being that when they reset timelines, they're only there normally for like a few seconds.
True. That's a very much a question to worry about. I mean, just one that kind of confusing. But I guess we'll go back into it. So, what you also find out in this episode that in this episode that they try to find Sylvie. They try to fix the loom that is currently on critical because it was not built to house more than one timeline. And what else? What else that? And they try to stop the lady from destroying the timelines once they figure it out. And they actively try to find Sylvie, Renslayer, and that lady, all while also trying to stop the timeline from going to critical reaction mode. That is all the plots that we have gotten so far in 2 episodes. And in this episode, as you said, you find out that, you know, the Miss Minutes character is also gone missing
Hmm.
after he gets killed.
Which makes
And
sense.
when I have a question, is Miss Minutes and is that an active character in the actual like book?
Yes, if I remember right. But I also didn't like. I stumbled upon this originally, so I don't fully know about everything to do with the TVA. I stumbled across this reading Fantastic Four comic books and was mad because it kind of spoiled the ending for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was wondering right there if it was something that was a comic book character or no. Kind of a interesting character, or just an artificial intelligence that he made that kind of just was around for everything. You kind of don't know to the extent what she can and can't do, besides the fact that she can hop in and out of timelines because she just completely disappeared after He Who
I,
Remains was killed.
I have an answer for you. Miss Minutes wasn't. Miss Minutes was newly introduced to comics, so she was not originally there. I couldn't
Okay.
remember if it was like a new thing or not, but
Mm-hmm.
um, because I didn't remember, but I do remember that in the comics, the timekeepers were real, and they did work under He Who Remains still, and that's how I found out the whole spoiler thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is an interesting concept. And it does make sense for the artificial intelligence that you created to solely, whether you're alive or not, work on your behalf and your best interest. So her disappearing, or they, I don't know what gender they are, disappearing doesn't make sense to me. Or it does make sense to me.
I can see that, and you will see actively more of her in the third episode, which I'm the only one that have seen. But I feel like that will be a very important part of the next one.
I think I may have gotten spoiled that Victor Timely shows up.
I mean, that was kind of in the that was in the trailer for this season anyway. When it was in the after
Well, it
credit
was
scenes,
in.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
it was an after credit scenes for the first season.
yeah. That's what I was about to say. I remember he was already uh, hinted at, or well, shown. He wasn't even hinted,
Yeah,
but
I guess we'll see how that one. We'll go into that one. I guess the next time we do go over here to talk. So as we see, as we go through, like you said, of the time of the plots, they find Miss. I guess her name. I guess this is her name is Docs, the one who decides to destroy timeline. She succeeds, but actively gets murked in the same shortly after, as we said. They find out that to fix the loom, they need to find either Miss Minutes or the aura of He Who Remains, which basically means they need one of his variants or something of that nature. Someone that was there for never mind. Just this Menace or He Who Remains are only ones that can kind of actively go in and make adjustments to what was created to keep the timeline on the street line.
Hmm.
And they and then you also we figure out where Sylvie's been at. She has been working at Mickey D's selling Big Macs.
I respect it.
She says she is happily living in the country, making McDonald's burgers and fries from the 1980s, which probably tastes 10 times better than what it tastes like now.
It does.
Mm-mm-mm.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, she kind of did everything.
You're right. Her mission was accomplished in her
So
eyes.
this is her Thanos sitting and watching the sunrise after a job well done.
Not knowing that the only thing that she did was basically actively start a whole new war. But we don't know who's going to be a part of this war. That's the only sad part.
Here's my question, because all of these things are happening at the same. I put time in quotes. Um, do these branching timelines branch into other universes?
What you mean?
Because if you remember at the end of Doctor Strange, they said that the incursions were coming. And
Oh
the
yeah.
incursions are when one universe collides into another universe. So I'm thinking, like, which thing affects the other more is what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, as you remember, I'm thinking because I'm thinking this all goes back to a part of what the what's that lady that was on what's that lady name that was she was on these movies. I can't remember. I'm not gonna see her face, but she was Doctor Strange's teacher, the one that was
Oh,
tight.
the ancient one.
Yeah, that one. Remember how on the Avengers movie she was like, if we pluck these things out the timeline, things are just gonna start branching out like crazy. And then that part was true, but actively they didn't like say they said it affects the timelines, but also we don't know how like you said, you don't know how that affects the actual universes because how was it that girl, the girl that can hop the universes? It's almost like the only way that she actually existed was right at like it's almost like Doctor Strange happened actively right after the whole Kang stuff happened. Like it's
Yes, the
like
thing, the problem is that that's what I was looking for. Um, the problem being that we don't know where in time what's happening in the TVA is happening, because it is in a supposed separate dimension from where the main Marvel universe is happening. It's supposed to still affect the timeline, but technically, I don't know if Loki's even in the same universe, because Kang affects everything through time. Kang is also technically a multiversal constant.
and technically he wasn't even on the same timeline as the original Marvel story because the only reason he existed was because they went back in time and caused the anomaly.
Wait, when was this?
Remember this Loki is the one that
Oh, yes.
came out from Endgame that
Yes.
used the stone, but as soon as he used that stone, I would assume that the TVA pruned that timeline that was accidentally created when they went back in time, and then Loki disappeared, and Loki was the part of the timeline that got pruned. I would assume that as soon as he went like warped into the TVA to be pretty much either to be utilized as he's been utilized or slash pruned. I'm assuming that whole timeline that Tony and them jacked up on and got pruned immediately after.
Here's the problem when you're dealing with time questions and time issues is that whole chicken and egg thing, because that anomaly created that Loki. How do we not know that anomaly didn't in that anomaly didn't create the circumstance for He Who Remains to create the TVA, because that would happen regardless of what point in time it was. So he could have always been there, or they could have created him. We will never know, I guess, technically, because the incursions happen all because the incursions normally happen because of something completely different. I don't think they're going to bring in the character that causes the incursions because he's just too strong. And they're already getting to like the levels of, they kind of ramped it back for Kang, which I like, and a lot of people are upset about for some reason, to make it like a more realistic fight, especially with all of the big strong people being away.
I guess it also depends on which king they're fighting, because as you know, like each king kind of, I guess, basically they fight a different way. He Who Remains basically was like, I'm just going to beat them with my brain. While you had the one that was on Doctor Strange, which was just the maniac who was smart. I gave you that. But he was also very much just determined to, he was one track minded, which kind of, ended up and how he got jacked up. But these are only two different kings. We don't even know how to. And these were two of the original leaders of the kings, which is what they said
It was what's
in
his name?
In Quantumania.
What's his name? I forgot what they named him. The one who had like the weird thing on his head was supposed to be the I guess smartest Kang besides Prime Kang, which was He Who Remains. But I can't remember his name. I tried to find it, but I can't remember.
You said the He Who Remains king?
That's who I was thinking of. Ramatut and Immortus are the leaders. But Ramatut was who I was thinking of. He was the one that was shown at the end of Quantumania with the weird, like, Egyptian headdress.
And Ramatut is
that is, I got confused. That is Immortus.
Immortus is the original?
No.
Well, he's not the original.
He Who Remains is the Prime King. Technically, they all exist through all of time, always. Prime King is the king that went back, I believe, and killed them all before they became threats, so that he would be the only one left. But technically, they all exist at the same time throughout time. Which is why if you read comics, he will randomly pop up out of anywhere and everywhere. Which is what makes the King Wars dangerous. But Immortus is the leader of the Council of Kangs. And I technically don't know if the Kang that was supposed to be in Quantumania was an earlier version of Prime King or not. because Prime King betrayed the Council of Kings.
And then you gotta go, I guess, with which king is that you got. So you have, so we only the ones that we've seen so far are Immortus, which was the futuristic one.
Yeah.
Then we saw Ramatut. That was one of the, because there was 5 main ones that still had statues.
Yeah.
And He Who Remains, and the one that was on Quantumania were the 2 that were, well, one of them was already broken down, which I'm guessing was He Who Remains, and the one that was shown that was like basically shattering on Quantumania was the other one. So we have Ramatut, Immortus, and I don't know who the third one
Victor
would be.
Timely. Victor Timely's the third one.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
We
What was
saw
that?
him at the end of the first season of Loki. The one who looked like he was in like the 60s with the glasses.
Yeah.
You said I look like a Montgomery. He looks like a Montgomery.
He looks more than Montgomery. He looks like a Saint Montgomery Bernard. That's what he looks like. He looks like a reverend doctor. That's what he looks like. Let's see. Let's see if I can just look this up real fast while we're sitting here. But now I'm wondering, like, who were the ones that were at the end in the post-credit scenes? I might have to look it up, just trying to get an idea of which ones were there. So the first one you see is...
Oh, there's Scarlet Centurion too.
So yeah, there's Ramatut. And okay. So these are the 3 that is up there. Ramatut,
Immortus.
Immortus.
And is
I
a
see
Scarlet
him.
Centurion. The futuristic, like cyborg looking one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, those are the 3 that are there. I mean, those are the 3 that are there, I guess, for right now. That are the leaders that are left, I guess, out of the main 5, which was I'm guessing the main 5 were those 3 that are still left, and He Who Remains, who basically just was the one that won the war, and the one that died, the other one that died. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also want to take this time to say that people were too hard on Quantumania. They
We
expected it to be in another Infinity War, and I'm like, not everything's going to be the finale to a 7-8 year stint. You got to give them time to build too.
Not wrong. I guess that's gonna be a part of its own episode. We do gotta go back for that one. So I guess that is on the docket. We're gonna go back and look at that, how that one built onto the whole time, this whole timeline. Well, not even the timeline, how the things are just unfolding in different areas of the the universe slash multiverse slash whatever verse this is now. We don't even know it 100%, to be honest. We don't
This
even
is
know.
true. We
But
don't know which universe everything is happening in.
yeah. So as we get back, I guess this will be the wrap up for this one. We get back, they find Sylvie, they stop they didn't stop her, they captured the lady who was destroying the timelines after she destroyed many timelines. And they actively find to get an idea or a hit on where Renslayer is from her temp pad, from working with first of all, they had to get an idea where to find Sylvie from the dude that just decided to exit stage left from doing his job. because he was like, he just actively left.
I respect him though.
Yeah, I like that torture scene. It was very good to me.
Yeah. I just respect it as he was just like, you know what? Because it started off with him saying how jet skis looked fun. That was in the first episode. And he was like, you know what? This is above me. And I respect
He said,
that.
"You see, y'all see that? What? It's above me now. That's it." He says in God's hands. God's plan. He went out there and had a good time. But at the end of the day, they did actively. They found Sylvie. She said, "I ain't helping y'all at all." After they captured the lady that was destroying all those timelines, and then once they got the hit on Renslayer's temp pad, she actively said, put the middle fingers up and said, "I'm done with y'all." And that was it for this episode. They continue their search for Renslayer and Miss Minutes as they try to fix the loom with Ouroboros. Flash. That man name is OB. OB.
GYN.
I'm done. All
I
right.
should have said that. Get you, man. Hold on one second.
I'm weak. But that's pretty much the wrap up for both of those episodes. This is a wrap up for also this episode. This is a nice, smooth, quick hour. And as we go back to going into the next few episodes, we're going to come back and wrap up the third episode, maybe even the third and fourth episode by the time we get back to doing this, to get back to doing the next episodes. We can actually just do both at the same time like we did these two. And then also find time to maybe after this season is over with our reviewing of all the episodes, we'll go back and look at Guardians of the Galaxy and also the Quantum Mania movie, a quick review, and try to give an idea of what we think of how this will affect the timeline. Is that cool?
Yeah, I mean, technically, you should put Doctor Strange in there too if there's a actual incursion happening.
We didn't do Doctor Strange?
We didn't say how it would affect the timeline.
Okay, we'll add that on to the Quantum Mania episode then.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think we got a good amount of stuff going on here, I feel like everybody has already heard a lot from us. Hopefully, we can bring some people back to this original show that we had. This is basically the fourth show that we have made.
Is it?
Well, this is the fourth show that I've done. This is the third one that you did.
Okay.
Because we had the original thing about things.
Yeah.
And I'm about to just completely I'm about to no longer people you're about to not whatever that was, don't worry about it. It's not going to exist anymore. Don't worry about it. Once I'm done, it's just going to be Marvel's Detectives. And that's going to be the branding for this from here on out. The other thing is gone. Erased from existence. Poof. King killed it. Then we had then we had the wrestling one, which was the third show. Then I had the sports one, which I am actively going to get back onto that one. Well, basically just for basketball, the basketball one. That's about it. So
yeah, that one was it Respect the Craft?
yeah, still under the same thing. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll see. Put that under there. It's still gonna be under the Marvelous Detectives Network now. This is the new name, I feel like this name is way better than the other one. All right. So again, thank you all for listening. I thank you all for actively keeping up the numbers from our old episodes. Basically, I heard y'all cries. I saw the people that listened, and I saw that you needed us to be back in you all's lives. And
I'm gonna need you to stop before they run away. My eyes just glazed over even.
I mean, hey, they've listened to us talk about this. This is a short episode compared to how we used to go on.
This is true. But we also started decently late.
You're not wrong. Well, again. Also, since we're on the topic of all the things we may go back, if we do finish Spider-Man, both of us finish Spider-Man. Do you have Spider-Man, Mr. Pat? Oh, not. I'm sorry, Pastor. You got the Spider-Man game.
I do not have Spider-Man 2.
Well, you need to hurry up
You
because I
know
give it.
what? You know
I
what
give
you
it.
need to hurry up and finish?
I gotta mute you. I gotta mute you. Hold up, guys. I gotta mute this man. Hey, we had to mute this man real quick. You don't need to worry about what he's talking about. He ain't talking about no, we ain't talking about that. We are on Marvel content. Let's bring him back in. We brought him back into the room, Pastor. We brought the pastor.
You just gonna censor your boy? You just gonna censor me like that? You gonna censor the church? How dare you?
We brought the pastor back in the room. We brought the pastor back onto the pulpit. The pastor on the pulpit. He's back on the pulpit. Let him speak. What were you saying, Pastor?
No, I don't want no smoke. I'm just chilling now. It'll be a minute before I get to Spider-Man. I'm
Amen.
still on Baldur's Gate 3, so and that's got some time.
Well, amen, Pastor. Well, you still got
Like finished God of War though.
one day, and we still have actively about what we still got have actively about what a month worth of content to go through before we even go into that Spider-Man. Anyways, we got Loki, we got Quantumania, we got Guardians of the Galaxy. That should be at least 2 to 3 months worth of content for you all. So we here once a week. We here once a week. Maybe I'm here twice. That's it.
Yeah, I'll be here once a week. I can say that.
All right. Well, again, we thank you all for listening, and we hope that you will continue to be here as we go into this. We just bring back this show for the people. This is not for me. This is for the people. All right. Peace out. That's it. Bye.
Yeah.